Good morning, everyone. Yes, made it again to the screen. I only have 20 minutes, so let's get this going. My two daughters are going to the gym together, so I have the wonderful privilege of taking care of the little one for a couple of hours today as well. Okay, so let's get going. Second book of Maccabees 6. I feel like I just have to read my way through here. Gentile cults imposed. Oh. 6. What now? Again? Or again? Or are we reading again what we already read in the first book? And this is just, as we said, more from the common people standpoint, which I haven't really seen yet, so... Shortly afterwards, the king sent Gerontis, the Athenian, who the heck is that now, to force the Jews to violate their ancestral customs and live no longer by the laws of God. So when did that happen? Exactly. Are we back again where Judas was still alive, or... Okay, well, I don't know. Maybe. And to profane the temple in Jerusalem and dedicate it to Olympian, I think I'm already out of time, Zeus. To the Olympian Zeus. Zeus? Where the heck does Zeus come in here now? And the one on Mount Gerizim to Zeus, patron of strangers, as the inhabitants of the latter place had requested. The advent of these evils was painfully hard for all the people to bear. The temple was filled with reveling and debauchery by the Gentiles, who took their pleasure with prostitutes and had intercourse with women in the sacred precincts, introducing other indecencies besides. Oh my gosh. The altar of sacrifice was loaded with victims prescribed by the law as profane. No one might either keep the Sabbath or observe the traditional feasts, or so much as admit to being a Jew. Well, doesn't that sound familiar? People were driven by harsh compulsion to take part in a monthly ritual meal commemorating the king's birthday. And when a feast of Dionysus occurred, they were forced to wear ivy wreaths and walk in a Dionysiac procession. Dionysiac? A decree was issued at the instance of the people of Ptolemais for the neighboring Greek cities, enforcing the same conduct on the Jews there, obliging them to share in the sacrificial meals, and ordering the execution of those who would not voluntarily conform to Greek customs. So it became clear that disaster was imminent. God told the Israelites early on, do not mix, right, with other people on the outside. And I guess this was the reason. It just got so convoluted that there's no control. And again, I don't think that was, forever and ever. It's just the Israelites, God knew he had to stabilize them first, right? Yes? For example, 2 women were charged with having circumcised their children. They were paraded publicly round the town with their babies hung at their breasts. Oh my God. Also, these are not people, they're just beasts, monsters. Aliens. Okay, they don't exist. Well, obviously they do. Right here on Earth. What people looking for aliens out there abusing us? I'm right here. And aren't people still doing that? There are people fighting out there who don't care about women and children. Or babies. All this stuff's still going on. A little differently. And then hurled over the city wall. Other people who had assembled in some nearby caves to keep the 7th day without attracting attention, were denounced to Philip, and were then all burned to death together, since their consciences would not allow them to defend themselves out of respect for the holiness of the day. And here again, so who would rat them out? One of their own, had no doubt. I'm sure they didn't tell the other people there that, hey, by the way, we're going to go and have our own. We're going to keep going on our own with our own religion. We're going to keep our promise to God. But we have to do it secretly now. Right? So surely they didn't advertise that. So who was it? And I have no doubt that it was that they got ratted out. That someone just, I need money. We're going to go and rat them out for money. No doubt. I don't even need to. This doesn't even need to be in here. Who might have done that? Okay. Well, what did Judas do? Judas Iscariot. Why did he rat Jesus out? For money. Okay. Providential significance of the persecution. Now I urge anyone who may read this book not to be dismayed at these calamities, but they were faithful followers. They did not defend themselves. Out of respect for the holiness of the day. Oh my gosh. My heart just aches with all this. Oh, now I urge anyone who may read this book not to be dismayed at these calamities. Oh, okay. But to reflect that such visitations are intended to destroy our race, but to discipline it. Oh, really? Indeed, when evildoers are not left for long to their own devices, but incur swift retribution, it is a sign of great benevolence. No, what is that now? Oh, again, this is not how God works. It isn't. No. In the case of other nations, the master waits patiently for them to attain the full measure of their sins before he punishes them. But with us, he has decided to deal differently, rather than have to punish us later when our sins come to full measure. And so he never entirely withdrawn his mercy from us. He may discipline us by some disaster, but he does not desert his own people. Let this be said simply by way of reminder. We must return to our story without more ado. Thanks for the reminder. I like to remind people the situation that you're in, most likely, after you become an adult and you can start making your own choices, freedom of will, freedom of choice, are of your own making, one way or the other, are of your own making. I have a simple example. Again, when you see poor nations, okay, they like to call them third world countries. There are able-bodied people there, and with very little you can build a little house. It's not that hard to pick up the trash and make your surroundings look nice. You don't need money and power for that. Or live in a civilized, rich country, which, by the way, in most civilized countries, there are a lot of people who live in a trash can. Just saying. Now, but that's because they're poor people. What, so you're poor and you can't keep your surroundings cleaned up? That's not possible. No. That comes from some. It's just not right. And we're continuously enable people to find that excuse. Well, it's because we're so poor, so weak. No, stop. These are all excuses. There are consequences to sin, and these consequences are a natural course of sin. God doesn't have anything to do with that. Why would he have anything to do with that? One way or the other. It's all of our own making. Just saying. So again, here's, just take it. Well, yeah, but I'm taking it. I have to take it because of the circumstances I put myself into. In this case, a whole nation, a whole people. Done. The martyrdom of Eleazar. Eleazar, one of the foremost teachers of the law, a man already advanced in years and of most noble appearance, had his mouth forced open to make him eat a piece of pork. Oh my God. But he, resolving to die with honor rather than to live disgraced, walked of his own accord to the torture of the wheel, having spat the stuff out as befits those with the courage to reject what is not lawful to taste, rather than live. Okay. The people supervising the ritual meal forbidden by the law because of the length of time for which they had known him, took him aside and privately urged him to have meat brought of a kind he could properly use, prepared by himself, and only pretend to eat the portions of sacrificial meat as prescribed by the king. This action would enable him to escape death, by availing himself of an act of kindness prompted by their long friendship. But having taken a noble decision, worthy of his years and the dignity of his great age, and the well-earned distinction of his grey hairs, worthy too of his impeccable conduct from boyhood, and above all of the holy legislation established by God himself, he answered accordingly, telling them to send him at once to Hades. Pretense, he said, does not befit our time of life. Many young people would suppose that Eleazar at the age of 90 had conformed to the foreigner's way of life, and because I had played this part for the sake of a paltry brief spell of life, might themselves be led astray on my account. I should only bring defilement and disgrace on my old age. Even though for the moment I avoid execution by man, I can never, living or dead, elude the grasp of the Almighty. Therefore, if I am man enough to quit this life here and now, I shall prove myself worthy of my old age, and I shall have left the young and noble example of how to make a good death, eagerly and generously for the venerable and holy laws. Okay. So my only question here is, so this is a guy that obviously the people still need. Yes? According to how he's being described here, unless of course this is just again, okay. Oh my gosh, did y'all get this out of your mind? Because of a piece of meat? Or because of, really? Well, okay, of course now we can say, we have the New Testament. Did Jesus not eat pork? Okay, again, why was pork was really, really rare at that time, okay? Okay, so, and I'm not sure, I'm not sure why the eating thing was a big thing about it all, because pigs, okay, if you've ever come across a boar in the woods, it's one of the most dangerous things to come across, to start with. And pigs, they multiply every year 3 or 4 times with 10 to 15 babies. Do the math on that. They have now, I believe it is in Canada, and I think it's in some parts here in the United States, they have such a bad boar problem because they too multiply so much, right? And then they're protected, so you can't hunt them or something. I'm not sure. Oh, they're so difficult to hunt, and hunters now are kind of, right now we got all that meat in the store. Why would you want to go and hunt out there, right? Yes. They have become such a problem that you can't go into the woods anymore. I mean, or they're destroying. They're pigs. They destroy things. Now, can you imagine if we suddenly said, "Okay, we're not eating pigs anymore. We're not going to eat pork anymore." So, whatever. I said, what are you going to do? You have to exterminate them. You have to completely eradicate pigs. Well, then why did God create them to begin with? I'm just asking. So, okay, at this time they had this, okay, we're not going to eat pigs. And this is that's what they're using as an example here for his death. Really. Oh, well, and give a good reason, well, if I, just so that I live, then, and I'll eat it, then what kind of example is that to the younger people? Well, You haven't been eating pig for I don't know how long, and yet it hasn't been a very good example out there to anybody. Nobody's listening anyway. The young people have gone so off track that now here come the Greek, and they're going, well, we're going to come with our own rules now, and if you don't follow, you're just going to die. It's already gone this far. Why? There had to be a reason for that. As I said, the consequences of what? So, I would say, and again, hey, don't get me wrong. There are other instances, and they're happening in the world still as well, where Christians give their lives because, well, what are they going to do? Well, denounce your faith. That's one thing. Denounce your faith? Well, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to denounce my faith. Well, then you're going to die. Okay. But in this case, it's about a piece of pork. Okay, that's denouncing his faith. Is it? Because, again, he's still needed. If he's that, God almighty, worthy, yeah, since boyhood, yeah, above all of the holy legislation established by God himself, then he should say, no, I got to live. I'm going to make it out of here. And then I'm going to explain to the young people, that, look, you still need my guidance. So if we have to eat pork now to survive, we're going to do that. Because, again, it's a silly example. Was it pork? Probably. I don't know. Was it that rare? They didn't really have pigs there? Of course, Jesus then uses pigs too to put demons into. People make up all this stuff. Anyway, I'm not sure where to go with it all, and it is what it is in here. And Eleazar rather gives his life. Okay, one could take it as an example of, well, he didn't betray God. It's just the example that they're giving here. It's just not. It kind of rubs me the wrong way for many different reasons. One is, God created pigs. What for? Why did God create pigs? Yeah, as far as I know, after the 5th day, he looks at all the animals and goes, wow, everything's good. So what were pigs good for? Think of what pigs are good for. If you don't eat them, don't make them a part of your diet. What are pigs good for? Just asking. So saying, he walked straight to the wheel, while those who were escorting him recently, so well disposed towards him, turned against him after this declaration, which they regarded as sheer madness. What did I just say? See, they're not getting it. We still need you. Why are you doing this? You're the one connected so deeply to God's heart, or to God. Where are we going to go and look for the guidance after this? You see, I'm just saying. He wants to give some kind of a, this is more, or is he trying to preserve his status as the, right? Yes? Again, that's a false kind of sacrifice. Yeah? Yes? Okay. Well, again, he, for his part, just before he died, under the blows, gave a sign, said, the Lord, whose knowledge is holy, sees clearly that, though I might have escaped death from awe of him, I gladly endure these agonies of body under the lash, and that in my soul I am glad to suffer. Eleazar. This was how he died, leaving his death as an example of nobility and a record of virtue. Oh. Not only for the young, but for the greater part of the nation. You see what it says here? Where's the humility? Okay. And I've said this, I mentioned this before, the vision that I had on the porch with my whole family, where I had to, yes, I would take the first blow, but in order for the spirit world showed me clearly that in order for me, for anyone to be together with their loved ones, beloved, whatever in spirit world. You can't take a life. You just can't. You can't take another person's life. You have to give yourself your own life. So if Eleazar, if they said, well, we want you to, you have a commandment, thou shalt not kill. I want you to kill someone. Well, okay, would he? Because, hey, they had all these wars where God was good with killing. So if it is an enemy, then would have Eleazar killed that person in order to stay alive? Yet, I was clearly shown that if you take the risk of killing someone, then you will not be with your family in spirit world until that person that you killed forgives you, sincerely forgives you. Also in spirit world. Just saying. Yeah. Yes. So, yeah, I saw my whole family in a vision slaughtered because of I could not convince the three men that came armed as snap and could not convince them to eat that bowl of soup with us. It's very sad. But the consequence of taking another life was far greater than to just, oh wow, what was that? It was far greater than to just give our lives. I just had to give our lives. Yes. The two women with the babies and the circumcision, I don't know if it's true. I feel like they just throw stuff in there because it's bleh. Knowing full well that they not just are putting their own life at risk, but their babies, their child. You're not going to be dumb enough as a mother to do that. You're just not. And they both, if they both did that again, okay, so where did they do that? Did they do it themselves? And who would know? And were these babies all walking around naked or something? I'm just asking so people could see. So who ratted them out? No, that again. Someone very close to them. And for what? Money. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Or is it even true? Would a mother be dumb enough to do that? It's one thing if you risk your own life. It's a whole other thing as a mother on purpose, knowing full well to risk your child's life. Yeah, just saying. So, how much is true? Did that really happen? Could have. I don't know. Are there monsters and beasts among mankind that look like humans? But I don't know. They're supposed to have the original mind within themselves as well. Where is it buried? To that kind of degree, that type of degree. Yes? Well, anyway, we must pray. We must love them and we must pray for them. Done. That's what we do. That's how we are originally designed, to love, to care, and to pray for each other. And hope, yes, that a spark, that spark somehow ignites properly. And that is part of spirit world. That's where spirit world comes in. But there has to be enough positive energy, enough true sincerity and care out there from among the people to other people for that to happen. All right? So we should never give up praying. We should never give up loving. We should never give up caring. Yes? I don't know. So there's another grilling part. Oh, also the wheel reminds me of the experience that I had, which also I've given before in videos. I'm not sure how far back. Where as a child, growing up in Switzerland, we have a lot of castles in Switzerland. Old castles. And they have dungeons. And they were usually used for prisoners and torture. And we would go. I remember the earliest, and maybe I was in 4th grade. I remember more clearly on 6th grade when we went in one of those. And And after that, I would go, but I would never go down to the dungeons anymore. I would go down, I went down, and we walked into this room and this dungeon, and there were all these torture tools laid out, and they looked horrific. And there was the table was still there, where they would strap them down or whatever. And I walked in, and immediately this foul smell came at me. It wasn't just, oh, walk in and go, ooh, smells a little funky in here. No, it was like this foul smell came at me, and I started hearing the screams of the people tortured there. I started to feel immediately sick. I got an immediate migraine, and I had to leave. I was down there for maybe 2 minutes, if at all, and I had to leave. I had to go up, and I was throwing up. I got so sick from being down there, and I remember the pain in my head again, just the instant pain in my head, and it was a horrible trip. It was absolutely horrific, and yeah. So the wheel and where it came back to my mind, the story in these castles and the residues left over from the victims, um, and the torture that they went through. Horrific stuff, just horrific stuff. And it was all the people who did that to them. Sometimes I wonder what kind of a breed it takes to be an executioner or a torturer. That one can stomach doing that to another human being, no matter who they are, what they've done. Anyway. I'm sure there are other ways, right? Yeah, tickle them to death or something. Father. So that was my experience. I had the same experience at the wall in Washington D.C. The Korean War wall, where all the soldiers were on there, and I don't know why I had to do that. I guess I just did, and I put my hand on the wall, and in the immediate, there wasn't the foul smell or anything, but the screaming, the pain of the soldiers, I just washed over me, and I got dizzy and sick again. I got sick to my stomach, really dizzy. Had to immediately go and sit down on the bench, wait for my friend to get back. He says, "You are as white as a sheet. What just happened?" So I said, "I got to get out of here. I have to leave." And even though I was not feeling well, I immediately said a prayer for everyone. Please forgive and be forgiven. And as soon as we started walking away, and about a half mile away from where we went back to the car, I started feeling better. Same thing, as happens also here on not everywhere, right? But on Civil War, and Civil War fields where people were our own people fighting against each other, sometimes there it happens as well. Yes, very sensitive. Yeah. But it's also, I do realize, a cry for help. Wow, it just happened again. What's going on here? All right. Well, got some spiritual activity going on here, so I got to go and check out what that is. My feeling is it's just stuff that comes up, and then while it comes up, while I'm talking about it, there's a shift that happens. Yes, where sometimes it takes so little to just activate the good. Yeah? Yes, and restoration can start happening. Yeah. Oh, so you don't ever think that maybe that's a bad thing? No, I don't. Why would I do that? Who am I? I'm a true daughter of God. So there's no, that's not going. That's not a part of it. Mm-hmm. You gotta stay as a heavenly soldier. Gotta stay steadfast, and know where your strengths lie. Yes? And only the positive will triumph. I'll leave you with that. I think the baby's coming here in just a minute. May Heavenly Parent bless and protect you and embrace you with love, and I will talk to you all, God willing, tomorrow.